Hi, I'm Peter Tsigaris, and for this video clip, I would like to introduce you to a game that myself and Nancy Carson, a colleague of mine here at Thompson University, have developed that is fun for students to learn economic concepts. It is a basic game in economics, and it's an introduction to economics type of topic. Its purpose is basically to illustrate the trade-off between the production of dirty goods and environmental quality. The students have fun. Usually, we get very good feedback from them, and also, concepts like opportunity cost, scarcity of resources, and choice can be illustrated here, as well as abatement technologies and in the cleanup sector, etc. Just to give you a little brief introduction to it, and you can read the paper to get further information, is the way it works is basically you call up a student on a volunteer basis. You can have the whole class involved, but you can read that from our paper. So all you need is basically a piece of a desk, a small desk, basically, where that's basically where the firm is producing the good. A stack of papers that are about I don't know, one inch by 3 inches or so, and a whole stack of paper. And you need a whole bit of capital equipment. We call it capital economics, and this is a punch hole, and I have removed the capture and storage technology of this whole punch hole, and the purpose is basically because the good is producing pollution, so no capture and storage technology. And so you bring up a student onto the floor, and you ask him basically to produce a good. You illustrate to what he is supposed to do. He takes the piece of paper, he folds it once, and he folds it a second time, and then he gets the equipment and he punches a hole somewhere in the middle. Doesn't really matter, and all the confetti, of course, because the capture and storage technology is not available to him, falls on the floor. Usually, they say you cannot. You have to keep your firm clean, but you don't care so much about the environment. You don't tell them that, but they usually do that anyway, because they don't have to pay for the use of the resource, which is the floor. So anyway, so eventually this is the widget that a student produces. You count his productivity within a 1 minute period, how many of these things he produces, and then once it's done, you ask for a second student to come up to the floor. So the two students, you say, well, I want to measure how much you two together produce in 1 minute. So the students say, well, what are we going to do? So what they tend to do is basically divide the work. You see division of labor, and also you see specialization. So one student will be folding the pieces of paper, and the other student will be punching a hole. The result of the division of labor, division and specialization of labor, leads basically to most of the time to increasing returns. In other words, the additional worker that came in produced more widgets than the first worker. Uh, and we call that increasing returns in economics. So you measure after 1 minute the productivity of the two workers, and you can go on and measure marginal productivity, what we call the additional productivity from the extra worker, which is higher than with the second worker, and usually, or you can measure average productivity, which is basically the number of widgets divided by the amount of workers that you have. Then you invite a third worker in, and eventually even a fourth worker in. Eventually, what you'll see is basically that there will be bottlenecks in the production because they don't have a lot of capital. And I tell them, oh, see, capital is not bad. Having more capital because it will increase your productivity. So diminishing returns enter quite fast into the picture because you have all the students basically, most of the students basically are folding pieces of paper, and only one is uh, punching the hole into the widget. Um, and, and of course, what happens is the funny part is basically that really they don't pay attention to the confetti on the floor, which is well, why would they? I mean, they can use the resource for free, so they use it for free, and they're not environmentally conscious. They want to produce as many widgets as they can, especially when I tell them that you'll learn something out of it, like Smarties or etc. Uh, so anyway, the idea then is basically that once you've reached up to 3 or 4 workers, all the other students are recording everything. You can have them recording the production, and you can have them have discussions with them. But then what you tell them is basically, hey guys, I think we dirty the environment quite a lot. Uh, how about we shift one of the workers that we have from this production from this dirty sector into the environmental sector or the cleanup sector, and let's see how cleanup works there. So you take the last worker from the production of the from the production of the dirty good, and you shift them over to the environmental cleanup sector. And you say, well, what I want you to do is basically pick up as many confetti as you can within a 1 minute period by using as technology your hands, maybe your two fingers here, and pick them up and put them on the other hand, and pick as many as you can within a minute. You can alternate this technology. I mean, you can have scoop them up as many as you can. You can vary it. So then you measure, the production of cleanup, and you. What we tend to do is basically shift actually all the workers into the cleanup sector and ask them to pick up as many as they can, and then we measure the productivity, and we of course shift the most productive one to the environmental cleanup sector. But what the students can see is basically that really the opportunity cost of shifting a resource from a sector that has a lot of workers to a sector that has nobody there is actually not very expensive, because the last worker that is in the production of the dirty good is really not producing anything because of diminishing returns. So you take him from there and you move him to the other sector, and he cleans up. Of course, as you shift resources from the dirty sector to the cleanup sector, eventually the cost will start rising also in the cleanup sector. So you show them basically these interesting concepts with this game. I think I'm overextending myself here, telling you details of the game. You can read more by reading our paper. I hope you found this informative, and thank you very much. I'll be introducing a few other games that we play in the classroom to you as we move along. Thank you. Feedback is more than welcome. Thank you very much.